welcome. And thank you for joining me again. Happy New Year, everyone. I managed to get the treadmill at home working. It's probably shaking all over the place. It looks to me like it is. Not sure how much I can fix that. I'll try. I do appreciate everybody coming in. It keeps me motivated to get on here. And of course, I just wasn't ready. I had to get the thing to hold the phone, and that didn't want to work because I haven't done it here at home yet. So, pardon my first world problems. I'll get into the chat here in a second. I just started the thing, so it should be a full hour on the stream if things hold themselves together. Will Spirit Productions, thank you for coming in. Scratch and PPA, of course. Mark the Shark's in the house. 12 Veils is a long time friend. And Tony, thank you for coming in again. And the Stock Explorer is in the house. I had to move the stream. Baron, good to see you here. I slept in. So, not so much worried about the time that we get on or anything like that. Just happy to actually be doing it. So, I think I said we're on day 5 now. Hopefully everybody had a good New Year's Eve. We were just at home. We watched the Times Square ball drop when it happened, and we're kind of at home playing games. We play a lot of stuff like there's these games you can play on the computer on Steam that are things anybody can join with a phone, and silly games like drawing pictures and guessing what the pictures are, similar to a Pictionary thing. Knockers, good to see you in the house. Thanks for coming in. And we played some poker. We just play for fun, but we play somewhat often, so that was good. I was surprised to see some of the performers. We didn't turn on the TV until it was like literally the ball drop time. But Shaggy was on there, Duran was there. Sierra, she seems to be everywhere all the time. So. Oh, I see, Wolf Spirit Productions, yeah. Kristen, thank you for coming in. My love is in the house. We have a Canadian one as well. They'll do something usually in Toronto, but could be in a Canadian city. We watched one a couple of years ago. We just watched for that few minutes, right? Either while we're playing or like relaxing or whatever. And they put this girl on to perform after, and right away the music she was performing was all, I think it was politically charged, but it certainly was tons of swearing. And I'm sure that that's the last time they're gonna let that happen, because you got families watching and stuff, right? And New Year's Eve is different for most people. The kids don't usually go to bed, I imagine, at their usual times, and are able to stay up and watch that stuff. And I don't know if that's appropriate. Unstable TV, good to see you in the house. Those are longtime friends from Ireland, actually, on the other channel, and they're just doing fantastic. I think we said the other day they crossed 17,000 subscribers. Yeah, if I didn't have anybody around, I'd probably fall asleep, but we joke about it, actually. We're like, okay, ball drop at 12, snoring by 12:01. And of course, we did partake in Spumante Bambino. It's one of my favorite parts of New Year's. It's extremely popular. I joke about it because it's so inexpensive might be the right word to use for it. It's just sparkling wine, right? But it's so popular that I forgot to go and get it before, what was it, Friday night? And I went to go and get it. They were all out. There's only a peach flavored one, which is not much different, whatever. I like it. I tend to like things like that. Sam's Vlogs Trains and More, good to see you in the house. I want to ask everybody what their New Year's resolutions are, but I haven't thought of any. Somebody asked me the other day. I still haven't thought of any particular resolution. Philip Lemon, good to see you here. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, today I'm at home, Sam. I hope to be at home most often because I can, especially because I can use Wi-Fi here. But we have a treadmill, should be used. And I'll go to the gym if I have to. So we didn't have the treadmill in our apartment goes to where the Christmas tree also goes. So during the month of December, we put the treadmill away. Haven't used it in 2 years, and then the Christmas tree replaces it. So we had to. Kristen took care of the Christmas tree, both putting it up and taking it down, but. Yesterday we just put the treadmill back, and we went to the gym yesterday, a different one, and for today we're here. But we're just walking. I'm not expecting to go too crazy just yet. I haven't even stepped up the speed on the treadmill yet. Maybe I'll do that in a few minutes if I'm not gonna sweat like crazy, but we'll see. And then eventually, I hope weeks from now, I'll be walking a lot faster and accomplishing something. The idea right now is to just do this every day, or almost every day, right? 6 days a week maybe. And then Tony's got the right idea, trying Lotto Max. Kristen and I both play. We just played together, so we literally vocally made the deal. Okay, if we win, we share, but she plays Lotto Max, which is Tuesday and Friday, and I play 649, which is Wednesday and Saturday. What I tend to do is just buy the one ticket with Encore for 10 draws at a time. And what we're talking about is these particular lotteries in Ontario, Canada. So we'll see. I've been watching to see if the robots are going to work today. So Nightbot seems to be on the case. Everybody can drop their link if they want here. I added that in. Whether I'll keep it or not, I don't know, but probably for now. So you just do exclamation link and it will show up. I'll put a thing maybe in the chat at some point that will let everybody know they can do that. But I want to make sure that these robots are showing up. Sometimes they upgrade or they do different things, like on their own servers, so they have to be reset or disconnected and reconnected. And that's been the case on a few different channels. So I use 4. I use Nightbot, Botissimo, which is a paid one, but I love it, and Streamlabs and Stream Elements. And then we set a bunch of timers so that they can drop these messages in the chat, like the one that Nightbot just said right there. Yeah, Michael's Adventures. I'm hoping for steps, right? And after another, I don't know, probably week, I'll have stepped up the treadmill a little bit. Trouble is, you can hear I'm huffing and puffing already, and I'm still only doing 2.3 miles an hour like I was doing the other day. So I haven't stepped it up yet, but you know, I don't want to be standing here not able to even talk. I've been way, like, obviously out of shape for a long time, so it's very much needed. But I'll keep this up and hopefully otherwise be a little more active than I have been for a long time. And then eventually we'll get up to the 10,000 steps that we should, and then hopefully even someday, a few months from now, be up to 20,000 like Michael's Adventures typically does. Oh, diets? No, Sam. I probably will. So the idea is I'm hoping that I stay motivated to do this, right? And you guys are helping me by being here. It's the whole reason I'm even up and on today, the whole reason I went to the gym yesterday and all that stuff. But the idea is more so not really diet, because diets, you know, it can come and go. So the idea is more like permanent lifestyle change with light moderation, right? If I stop eating chocolate bars and drinking Monsters every day, things will miraculously change rapidly. And then the idea is just to get to a point with the exercise so that things like Monsters are not needed. David, can I ask you for a favor? Mind opening that door again? You can close it if it gets cold, but already like sweating like crazy. I shouldn't be. So that's the idea. A long time ago, if somebody was to go and stalk my old Facebook pictures, you would find from, I believe, 2009, somewhere around there, I was doing a little bit of this, but I did go on a diet specifically and lost 30 pounds in 2 months. So we all know how to do it, right? I know how to do it, I've done it, this and that, but it's just a matter of being, I guess, motivated to do it. So yeah, that's the idea too, Tony, you're right. Hopefully the sleep will be better. I'll have an easier time getting up than, like, for instance, I did today. I mean, we were up late, but I typically try to hit the pillow at 12, and I seem to need 8 hours of sleep. So I wish that wasn't the case. Maybe one day we'll get it scaled back to 7, but for all of my adult life, I'm just one of those guys that needs 8 hours. It has to be. So perhaps. John H. Shelton, thanks for coming in. I'm assuming that I lost my 30-minute notifications by moving the stream, but I think I did it late, so I'm not sure if they went out. I find that if you move a live stream anywhere within hours of its start time, then the notifications don't go out at all. Not saying I'm right, but that's what it seems like on all the different channels. Yeah, lottery win would be something else. That's for sure. So Bottissimo seems to be on the case. Nightbot showed up. I think everybody here knows each other. Thank you, John H. Shelton. Thank you for that. Yeah, I always appreciate any shares and things like that. Kristen, do you mind grabbing me a little towel of some sort? Anything, just a small thing. Please, and thank you. Oh, see, that'd be wonderful, Tony. Yeah, I've had an alarm set for 8 a.m. for a year now, maybe longer, and it's typical. That's the, time I'll get up. But I'd love for it to be 7. Most of us, thank you, would wish for an extra hour in the day, right? So, me too. Oh, Sam, Tuesday and Thursday, probably mid to late afternoon our time. So probably Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern or somewhere thereabouts. I'm gonna think about that as a schedule for now. It only depends on the work that I do during the week, which is all on the computer basically anyway. I keep talking about it, but tomorrow I'm ordering the table for the unboxing and review area that we've got set up at Jeff's place where I work. And then, yeah, thank you, John H. Shelton. He's condensing his channels, it seems. Yeah, it very well could be, Tony. I'm very, very lucky because the work that I do during the good weather months is a lot of construction. So some of you may, I think everybody here knows, but typically I do asphalt, concrete, painting lines in the parking lots and stuff like that. And it's really not that hard work. It's small spurts of hard work during long days, right? But because we deal mostly with safety, everybody has to get the work done. Doesn't matter. Inflation, pandemic, doesn't matter, anything else. So the first year of the pandemic, a lot of condo corporations and stuff would not have us work because they would say, we don't want people on site, masks or no masks, right? So we wouldn't have worn masks outdoors anyway. But they wouldn't have allowed it. Some. So a couple years ago wasn't great, but the year after was fine, and this year was apparently a record year. So that's very lucky. And then the other half of my full-time gig is doing YouTube and social media, mostly for one guy, but for a couple different people. And then that is the rest of the full-time income, let's just say. But because that has increased, and pardon me for saying, but I was right 5 years ago when we started, so everything is just fine, and I should be as okay as anybody can be. And then, yeah, so typically when I talk about unboxings and reviews, what I really mean is reviews or like setups of things. So like for instance, my best performing video is a tablet. When I got my iPhone 12 mini, I wanted to get it out and use it right away, so I didn't do the full setup and review video. I know it's late now, but I'm gonna intend on doing it anyway. And the idea is to show the setup and like functionality of things like that, like let's say electronic devices, but the unboxing is just something that's typical. Where possible, you always want to do it because people expect it. Past Life Explorer, good to see you here. Good Times Homestead with Jen and Steve, thanks for coming in. Joel in the kitchen, thank you for coming in as well. Yeah, Past Life Explorer, I was just with family yesterday and today and some of tomorrow, so that's my favorite thing. Hopefully everybody else had a good New Year's Eve as well and is already off today, maybe to a good start to your new year. The other reason why not to go to the gym today is January is the busiest month and today might be the busiest day of the year. My nephew's with me this weekend and he was pointing that out. I'm forgetting, I don't know how I forget that. But today will probably be the busiest day of all, either today or tomorrow. And then we always find, I've been a member at the gym for years. I used to go and then I stopped going for a while. Still pay, don't go. But by the end of January, things calm down, and by February or Valentine's Day, it's back to normal and all that. There you go, Past Life Explorer, yeah. I was hoping for a bit of good weather, but apparently it's going to rain right now. It's not that the rain's going to bother me if it's just that little bit of, spitting or whatever. It's just gets on the camera. It doesn't make for a good stream, and I don't know what there is to see on a cloudy day anyway. But if possible, we'll get out of it. Trying to do this every day or 6 days a week. I typically can't do Fridays. I'm looking into a way to be able to. But then the idea is that, thank you, Sam. The idea is that if I do this, so first of all, it'll motivate me by streaming, it'll motivate me to keep showing up on the treadmill or wherever I'm going to walk. But we can talk then, or I can talk, but we can talk about different things than I can get into in Tuber Chat. So if anybody wants to, we can talk YouTube for sure. I love talking about it. Everybody knows that, I think. But in Tuber Chat, I can only get into bite-sized chunks of ideas or information, and then I got to move on to get channels going, right? Whereas here, we're free to talk about anything. I expect to be on for an hour every day, so, or every day that we're here. Life with Adrienne XO, good to see you in the house, thank you. I'm not quite working out yet. Doctor told me 6 months ago I got to start walking, so I'm walking. That's it. But after a couple of weeks, I expect to step up the speed on the treadmill, as long as I'm not, panting and can still talk. I've been way out of shape for a long time. But once it picks up a little bit, then I'll pick up the pace. It will have its regular health benefits, and then I'll see about working out and stuff soon. We'll think about it. I don't like to say I'm gonna do a lot of things, because you see what happens with Tuber Chat. I've been talking about making videos for 2.5 years now and still have not got that done. So talking about doing something is probably better said once it's started in some cases. That makes sense. Past Life Explorer for sure. I haven't weighed in or anything like that. I have a rough idea of what I weigh right now. I should go and do that. Maybe I'll weigh myself tomorrow when I'm in front of a scale that I'm in front of all the time. But the idea for this is not as much weight loss right this second. Weight loss is guaranteed to happen with a little bit better diet in general and consistency here, right? So I'm not too worried about it. And then the idea of working out will hopefully help, but measuring is something I'll think about. Oh, there you go, Life with Adrienne XO. Oh, YouTube clone sites? I bet there's tons of them. Yes, Tony, makes sense. Well put. Well said. Yeah, Life with Adrienne. So, some of this comes down to what you're there for, if you're working out or if you're dieting or whatever you're doing. And then some of it comes down to motivation, as in, if you can truly know yourself, then you can know what you're going to do or not going to do. I know sometimes it sounds ridiculous, right? Anybody could say, like, Kevin, just don't drink a Monster. Just don't do it. Just drink water instead. And myself, I probably figure there's always tomorrow. It's a horrible thought to have, because we know tomorrow is not promised in many different ways. But the truth is that I feel that way most of the time. There's always time. And but at some point start to realize there's not as much as we think. I just as we get older, different people I'm sure feel different ways. For me, the older I've gotten, the younger I've realized that I am, or we all are. there's so much more time, you know. I think we think of age differently as we get older. Thank you, Past Life Explorer. Thanks for coming in. Oh, Not For Nothing Homestead. Good to see you here. Sorry, I didn't see you come in. Nita VR Designs. Good to see you here. Thank you for coming in. Thank you, everyone. My vision is not what it once was, and I haven't been wearing glasses while I've been working out. I got another phone that I'm reading the chat from here. Oh yeah, Tony, that's a slippery slope to think about. You know, I believe everybody, every single person has some creativity in them of some kind, something to offer. Now, what I'm saying is idealistic, and I know that, but for the most part, I'm sure anybody would agree that everybody's got something that they know or have experienced that they could share that could help, you know, or be useful or entertaining. It doesn't have to always be useful. It can be just fun. And then I Am Betty J Gathers, good to see you here. Thank you for coming in. I Am Betty J Gathers talks a lot on her channel about things like intermittent fasting and stuff like that. So that's something that I may be able to explore. One of the things that I found over my own lifetime is that when doing anything like dieting or working out or exercising or anything like that, I find that it's much easier when you have at least a friend or more than one that are doing similar things or the same thing, because then you have it as an interest and something to talk about. So if I have somebody who's also doing the same thing, exercising every day, going to the gym, or, you know, dieting or intermittent fasting, we'll spend more time every day talking about that while it's going on than, you know, whatever funny thing I saw on Twitter that day. Not that it matters, you know, I enjoy both, but I find it easier because then there's accountability, even if you don't outright say it, you know. And I tend to try to be honest at all times, or 99% of the time. So when, you know, if I'm, because there's nobody, I don't feel the need to answer to anybody. So let's say we're doing this and I don't show up one day. Then the idea is, okay, well, I just either couldn't show up one day or didn't feel like showing up one day, right? If I go out when in the middle of a diet and eat a chocolate bar, I will tell whoever I'm doing it with that I ate a chocolate bar. Not because you have to, not because it's a said thing, but because of the accountability, right? Not everybody has to do that, of course. It just, again, it comes down to knowing maybe yourself, knowing what will help. And when looking at a chocolate bar, about to open it up, knowing that you have to tell somebody, you know, every time I buy chocolate, which is all the time, even yesterday, even though I'm doing this, yesterday I went out and bought this huge bag of stuff, even right after Christmas, when I've already been given a month's supply of chocolate. And, but I will always tell Kristen, just because I don't know, maybe want the feeling of embarrassment that comes along with it, to say I'm doing something I shouldn't do. You know, so maybe one day I won't. Maybe it'll be enough that one day I'll look at the chocolate on the shelf and won't buy it because I won't want to have to say so. Oh wow, Jewel in the kitchen, that's no fun. I can't remember for the life of me if I ever lost keys. I might have. I've lost a wallet. I certainly have lost my phone. And I was very lucky. Not lost a phone, but I've left it a couple of times. Actually, I did lose one. One day I left my phone. I must have put it on top of the car while getting in and drove away. It was only a couple hours later that I figured it out. But luckily it was still on. I called it and they answered. That was many years ago when you could still easily steal a phone like that. So that was lucky. And what I tell people often as well is that I tend to be lucky half the time. So no more than anybody else. I don't expect to win the lottery tomorrow, right? But I think that most people would say, oh, with my luck, I'll never win the lottery, or, oh, with my luck, I'd lose my wallet and never get it back, or something like that. But in life, I have been probably lucky half the time. And I promise you, I look up at the sky, I say, thank you, God. I try to remember to thank God when good things happen and not just complain and ask for things. I try. I'm not saying I'm good at it. I say I try. That's an idea too. I am Betty J Gathers. So not that it mattered, because one single meal isn't going to do anything for me. But at Christmas, I didn't overdo it. So Kristen made this unbelievable ham. We also had turkey. I went to my sister's place. We had 2 different kinds of potatoes, and I forget what other vegetables and stuff. But I didn't, I wasn't doing the 3-plate thing or anything like that. I had like one decent sized meal, enjoyed it, and that was it. Now, not that that matters. There's nothing wrong with going either way, especially on a special occasion. But just knowing that maybe small steps will help lead to bigger results later, maybe. Try not to sound too cliche, but I do it every day anyway. Oh, interesting, Tony, yeah. I was watching a lot of stuff that I'm surprised about when I first started watching YouTube, because I didn't watch it most of the time it's been here, only until 6 years ago. There you go, Life with Adrienne XO. But that's okay too. A lot of people will say that right away. Thank you, the Stock Explorer. Yeah, a lot of people will say that. Like, okay, well, if you're gonna have a piece of cake, then you gotta go for a walk to cancel it out or work off those calories or whatever. The other thing too is like, eating. I think we all know eating right after exercising is a better time to eat as opposed to before, because your metabolism's up a little bit. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Not for nothing, Homestead. The truth of the matter is, like I said earlier, so I truly don't feel the need to report to anybody. Now, if I do, that's only because I want to either hear myself say what I'm embarrassed to say, like, hey, I just bought a bunch of chocolate, or I slept in yesterday, or I took a nap for 3 hours, or, something like that, but not really the need. So, in the eyes of maybe the idea, well, I can't lie because I'm only cheating myself. Yeah, it doesn't matter. If I'm out and I do something that, eat a chocolate bar, or, eat 2 pieces of cake instead of 1 or something like that, it doesn't matter. Because the other thing too is that even though I just started this, the hope is that it's a permanent lifestyle change. The idea is not to walk an hour a day for a few months and, work on a beach body or any of that stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the idea is to make sure that I'm getting in my 10 to 20,000 steps a day forever after. I see people who are older than me, and they're of all different fitness levels or health situations and things like that. So I just like to be as well off as I can when it comes to health and fitness. But it's not to be done today. I'm not in a race. If next year I'm looking a lot healthier and feeling a lot healthier than today, that's the goal, and then forever after. And thank you, Scratch and PPA. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, the thumbs up and everything still help here, of course. Like on every channel, every stream, shares, thumbs up. This kind of conversation really helps because it shows YouTube that the content is engaging. And while I talk about the idea of getting an area ready so that I can step up the production value, hopefully, of the unboxings and reviews and stuff, the goal literally is to make sure on every channel that I own or run, we put out 50 videos this year. Where videos are appropriate. Some channels are just for streaming or hanging out and stuff, but on the video channels, this one included. Maybe the stream deck will finally get done. And then there you go, Tony. Yes, it's astonishing that when we were kids, like let's say watching movies in school, it's great that you watch a movie because you don't have to do any work for an hour. But typically, if I was a kid, I think I remember, I can't be sure, but I think I remember, seeing things like they'd play a little video for 5 minutes or 10 minutes showing you how milk was made. And I wouldn't care, I'd turn it off. Now as an adult, I want to see all that stuff that will never, let's say, affect my own livelihood in any way, but I'm still curious to know. Glitter World, good to see you here. Thanks for coming in. Junkyard Gamer, thanks for coming by. Thank you, Junkyard Gamer. Coach Sherry, good to see you here. Thank you for coming in. Oh, that's good, Glitter World. That's great news. Yeah, there's none of that. there's none of that Good Times Homestead with Jen and Steve. At one point, I forget how old I was, but it doesn't matter. Sometime in the last 20 years, I fell off a ladder, and it was about 17 feet high, which is not that bad. It could have been worse. And what happened is I fell straight down. It's not a ladder that's got both sides like this. It's just a ladder that goes straight up and you put it on a wall. So I thought it was secure and it wasn't. And I got too high and it fell straight down. So if you can imagine, I'm falling down like this, and my feet both landed on the sides of the ladder, and it twisted my ankles both like this. And so I was on crutches for like 6 weeks. I don't believe they were broken, but even to this day, if I'm walking, not often, but occasionally, if there's a curb and I have to like walk down a tiny step, I'll wobble for a second. And so now I just don't do ladders. I just don't do it. So in my work, if anybody said, I'll pay you $10,000 to get upstairs and, staple a shingle to the roof, nope, not me. Lots of people willing to do that. I don't need to do it. There you go. Yes, Life with Adrienne XO. See, I'm very lucky because everybody here, almost everybody here, comes from the Tuber Chat crowd, which happens to luckily be a lot of generous and considerate people. So I don't expect to get some of the backlash that I would get on other channels, telling me how I'm walking wrong and not going fast enough and what do you need a towel for and why don't you drink some water. And I had a roommate for a couple of years, and it's a dear friend, somebody I've known for most of my adult life and everything else, but the guy literally sat on the couch telling me how to work out when I was doing some free weight like dumbbell stuff at home. And whether they're right or wrong, I turned and I said, like, dude, do you realize that you're sitting on the couch telling me how to do this? Show me, bro, is the idea. But we see that kind of stuff all the time. how to make milk. I forget some of the things. You know what I'm talking about. I think Sesame Street probably had some of that in it, but we have rules in Canada about television and radio having to have Canadian content. And my guess, I'm not saying I'm right, my guess is that it's part of that, but they would have to show us, I don't know, how different things are made. I can't remember anything. I feel like I remember bottles going through conveyor belts and things, but it could be almost anything at all. Now I'm more interested. I think that also comes from like wanting to change, because I believe almost anybody can change if they want to. So it's not a matter of change that I would have thought that I needed, but I've read a few of the very popular books, right? A few times actually, but let's say Think and Grow Rich is probably my favorite, but How to Win Friends and Influence People teaches you how to take interest in other people's stories. Because if you're having a conversation with somebody, a two-way conversation, and talking about vacations, it's very easy, and I do it as much as anybody, to want to like, oh, well, I've done this, and I've done that, and I remember this, and I remember that. It's easy to do on YouTube, but in a two-way conversation, it may not be the easiest thing in the world to force yourself to allow the other person to dominate the conversation, and you might even be able to lead that. Now, I'm not saying one book changed something in me that needed to be changed. I just think that knowing that, having it pointed out the way it's pointed out in the book helped. And so that's a thought, right? Taking an interest in what other people are doing, whether they affect you or not, can go a long way, especially towards true charisma, because likability and charisma are two very different things. In my opinion, unrelated. Lots of people out there who are likable, but when you get below the surface, there's no charisma there. Whereas there's people who may not seem so flashy at first glance, but end up being so likable that you miss them when they're gone almost immediately, if that makes sense. How it's made, there you go, yes. I've watched a lot of Brightside videos too. I don't know why, they just, I guess it got recommended at one point. I watched something and it kept going. They get recommended. 99.9% of the stuff that I watch on YouTube is our stuff, right? Like Tuber Chat community stuff, or channels that are friends of ours and things like that. But occasionally I'll watch something else like that. Yeah, I'm sure that's something else, Junkyard Gamer. I can't believe how much of a sweat I'm breaking. I'm not walking any faster than I did a couple of days ago. Yesterday, I think I was even slower by accident. Yeah, water's key for sure. I'll grab some water. I've got a Gatorade beside me right now, but and a Monster. Oh yeah, this was the fastest thing I could grab right now. I need to do some laundry first of all, but I have a bunch of t-shirts that are kind of folded up in a way that doesn't make them wearable right now. I gotta get the wrinkles out and stuff. Not to mention I leave things everywhere, so between sometimes working out away from home for a couple of days and this and that, I take clothes with me, and therefore I've got more wardrobe in the truck than I have in the house. Oh goodness, Tony, that's not, can't be the most fun story. And thank you, Good Times Homestead with Jen and Steve. The other thing too is I don't think it's difficult for somebody who wants to have other people's best interest at heart, and you can always find ways to make deals with yourself and with others that will benefit you and others without taking away. I think that's one of the magical things about YouTube, why I've landed there for the last few years, is because we can run a channel that allows us, let's say, to bring in income if that's the goal, without taking it from anybody. Nobody has to pay you. Nobody has to, worsen their own situation to improve yours and things like that. And then, thank you, Junkyard Gamer. Hopefully the rest of your day will be okay. Thank you. No doubt, Glitter World. Yeah, Derek's Journey, good to see you here. Thank you, Derek's Journey. He does a spectacular job. It took me a while to really realize what was going on, but he does an incredible job of motivating others. And then thank you, Glitter World. Again, we're not like going too hard or anything like that. I'm literally like, the doctor said a while ago, I got to start walking. I'm not in bad shape or anything. I gained a bit of weight last year, starting at this time. So I went to the doctor, got a physical, and there's no urgent, life-threatening situations or anything, thank goodness. But he just said you got to start walking. He goes, just walk an hour a day. He goes, you don't need the gym, you don't need a treadmill, you don't need anything else, just walk. He said, we're made to walk, we're supposed to walk, and if you walk an hour a day for 6 months, you will see a difference. And I've been through it before, so I know that he's right. So treadmill is just because the weather in our area is not the greatest, and it's easy to stream here too, right? And then Andrew, good to see you here. Thanks for coming in. Not sure if I catch that, but oh, interesting. Beetroot juice. Oh, I always, so Good Times Homestead, I did a diet thing and some working out many years ago, many years ago. But when I did, there are a couple of things that were lifestyle changes that never went back. So I tend to look for almost the farthest parking space for a couple of reasons. Toronto's a big, populous city, and our cars get beat up pretty bad when we typically park in busy areas, especially in the downtown, heavier parts of Toronto, but also for the extra couple of steps. I don't mind walking. I don't mind walking to the car or truck or whatever it is. Oh, that's cool, Coach Sherry. See, I wonder about that. No medical professional has said the word diabetes to me yet, but my, my family would know that my decades of history would predict that I would be a candidate. So I'd like to catch that before it becomes a reality. So we'll see. But that's all that this is for, is just to try to help. I need more energy, not to mention if we're gonna get into things like I keep talking about, like more activity, whether it's on YouTube or anything else, you have to have the energy, you have to have the strength. Otherwise, I'll do it tomorrow haunts you forever. It feels that way. Yeah, Derek's journey, it's something else. Yeah, so Coach Sherry, that's the idea behind like the walk for an hour, right? Is this will get in about 7,000 or 8,000 right now. In a couple of weeks when I step up the pace, it might actually be 10,000. And then whatever you do during the day is gravy, right? Which is great. But it's just an idea. Not aiming for specific things right now. The goal for me right this second is just to show up tomorrow. That's it. Oh wow. There you go. Yeah, Tony, that's interesting, eh? Yeah, my truck's starting to rust. I'm really angry about it because I've had mine for 10 years, but almost 10 years. I baby my truck because I want to keep it forever. That was the intention from the start. I drive it like a car, and with the exception of a few repairs along the way, still drives like day one. But the body's starting to get rust on it, and I'm like, in all these years, in 100 years, these companies can't come up with a way to not have that happen. If they didn't make so much money off of cars rusting, then, and there's a lot of people, I'm not picking on anybody, I'm just saying, like, can we not get better? That was what the DeLorean, I think, was supposed to have done. Oh, that's great, Andrew, that's great. That's true. Yes, people associate financial success with physical fitness too, and this and that. For me, I'm literally just starts with the feeling. Starts with the feeling. I want to be able to jump out of bed in the morning instead of laying there playing with the phone, pretending I'm working. And be able to sleep at night properly without getting up and things like that. This is a start to that, right? Better sleep means better productivity in the day. And, I got ambitions for this year that I want to get out there. A few people are behind the scenes trying to message me regularly saying wonderful, kind things to motivate me, and my answer up until now has always been yes, tomorrow. Coach Sherry, so I drive a Ford F-150 and mine is rusting around the wheel wells. And you'll notice that a lot of trucks, they don't have to be Fords, do that. They rust around, especially the rear wheel wells. And then in the cabs, on the bottom rear, those little blocks, because if any water it happens to get in, it ends up settling there apparently. And then things like, I think they're called rocker panels under the door and this and that. There's little spots here and there. The little tiny spots don't bother me so much, right? And the problem is, once it starts, I think it's impossible to ever stop. You can slow it down, but I'm just so angry that it happened. Sorry, that's not true. I'm angry that it's happening so quickly because it went from 0 to awful right away. And, it can be illegal in some jurisdictions to drive cars or vehicles that are in a certain shape. They have to be certified, and can't get it certified if it's covered in rust and got holes through the body and stuff. Yeah, if you're using a truck for work and stuff like that, you can beat those things up. And the engines, you know, I'm about to hit 300,000 kilometers on my truck, and I'm gonna try to get a shorts video when it happens. I'm gonna try to film it, but it you know, that's a young engine for a Ford F-150. That thing should go at least for another 3, if not 6. A friend of mine drove a Ford F-150 many years ago, and that's what we took around the States when I was working in the States a lot. And he put that thing up over, I believe, 900,000 kilometers, which is something else. But it'd be nice if the body could keep up, right? And then thank you, Not For Nothing Homestead. Pardon me. I can't believe how much I'm sweating. I'm not even doing anything here. Dog leg, front of the wheel arch, bottom of the rocker panel, L-shaped bit. Makes sense. In the front, I guess, is what you're talking about. Is that right? Yes? Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. Thing's still a beast. I love it. I'm very happy to have it. I wanted it for years before I got it. You know, it was probably a bad decision at the time, but I'm glad that I did it now, because it's like long paid and, you know, it's running great. Yep. Yep, that makes sense. Buying cars in the north would have rust. It's because, as far as I understand, it's because of our salt on the roads that we use for the ice and snow. And then I'm imagining rocks and things like that smashing into everything all the time. Lenny the Lawyer Live, good to see you in the house. Thanks for coming in. Ace Flaw 1, thanks for being here. No, Lenny the Lawyer Live, this is just on my personal channel, but I need motivation to walk an hour a day. So I figured streaming is a good way to stick to it, and it's working so far. We're on day 5, I think. Oh, the back and the front, I see. Thank you, Andrew. Oh wow, yeah, 100,000 on a truck of any age is wonderful. Yeah, that for spraying and stuff like that, any spray now, which should be done every year, not because I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a mechanic. I don't work on cars. I'm just saying from what I hear, right, is that if you spray now, it'll slow it to a crawl, but you can never stop it. The only other hope is that if you can find somebody who does small rust jobs, as opposed to a huge shop that deals with body work all the time, then a smaller independent rust or bodywork person will, first of all, be happy to have the work, but you'll be able to go to them maybe every year and say, okay, we got a little bit more problem, can you fix all this? You know, and then it's an expense every year after now. But that's if you want to keep it in good shape. If it's not necessary, that's fine too. And Lenny Lawyer Live, I just started. I'm not doing anything. I am walking almost as slow as you can walk on a treadmill, and it's just to get it done. That's it. The idea is just to walk an hour a day. That's the only motivation right this second. I hope to increase, but I'm also not making promises. So the idea is just to show up tomorrow. Oh, probably Lenny Lawyer Live. We've got shops all over the place. One of them is called Crown, Rust Protection or something like that. They're probably the most popular in Canada, and they just spray whatever their oil stuff is, wax stuff, whatever it is. Yeah, not too fast, Andy, that's for sure. And then thank you, Coach Sherry, thank you. She's been a friend for a long, long time. Okay, so I've been on just over an hour, just 60 minutes now. So thank you everybody for hanging out. I will spend some family time today. Maybe hit the computer for small spurts for a second, but then tomorrow's kind of getting close to back in action, and I'll schedule the Tuber Chat streams. I might do it late. I might not do it until Tuesday, or Monday night, but it'll be Tuesday and Thursday, probably at 4 p.m. somewhere thereabouts, and then back to the regular schedule next weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Oh, that makes sense, actually, Andrew. Yeah, I'm gonna go hydrate and all that stuff now. No, I'm at home, Andy. Now I'm at home. The last few days I was at a couple of gyms, but now I'm home. We have a treadmill here. Kristen got a treadmill quite a while back, so I hope to start making good use of that. Not yet, Lenny, not yet. But I'm sure that if I keep this up, I will be motivated to eat better, drink better, and stuff like that, because it's a shame, especially once you start doing something a little more progressive than this, right, or productive, then it's a shame. I spent an hour on a treadmill. Why would I grab a chocolate bar right after? Not that I haven't, but hopefully eventually that kind of thing will not happen, and that will be the beginning of actual difference here. Oh, hopefully you're doing okay, Pete. I know it's been that must have been a few days, if not a week already. And I try not to say too much about it. Somebody said that Pete might not be feeling 100%. Yeah, there you go, a little over a week. Yeah, hopefully you're doing what it needs to take better or get better. We all found ourselves feeling quite sickly at this time last year. And it took, I think, a week to get kind of out of it. Doing the typical things. I tend to overdo it with things like Neocitrin or Benadryl and things like that. I don't mind. If I'm gonna be out, then I might as well knock myself right out, try to sleep it off or rest it off or whatever it's gonna be. But hopefully you're doing what it needs to get over that, Pete. Okay, thank you everybody for hanging out. I'm going to hop off now, and we hope to see everybody again tomorrow. OpenGPT, I actually, oh, probably. I wonder about that, Lenny. They'd probably want to be on it, yeah, because people are right now hammering that ChatGPT and other AI things. So here's a hint for everybody, okay? Audio is half of video. You will hear all of the biggest YouTubers that talk about this stuff say that. I'm very lucky that I was an audio professional for most of my adult life. So this is why I was able right out of the gate 5.5 years ago to start making videos that weren't terrible, right? So what a lot of people are doing now is making these AI videos where they're going to an AI system like ChatGPT to write a script for them, then slapping a few pictures in or video clips, and then going to a text-to-speech AI engine to do the voice for them. But everybody can tell when they're listening to something robotic right now. I'm sure it will get better, maybe faster than we think, but for today, you could tell. So a better idea is to have the AI write the script, because they are incredible. Put some video to it. Make sure you're careful about what you're using. I would suggest, where possible, taking your own pictures and filming your own stuff. But however you got to get that done legally would be fine. And then narrate the video yourself. That's my suggestion. I may do a couple of these to show everybody what I'm talking about. And maybe I'll do a how to make an AI video, and we'll see. But it's an idea. But yeah, I've been watching the smallest bit of that. I played around with it the other day, and I see that the script writing ability is out of control. The way that I got it to work perfectly was to tell it I wanted a 5-minute speech for a certain topic. So for instance, I live in Niagara Falls, so I might say, write me a 5-minute speech about Niagara Falls, and it will do it with almost perfection. You still got to go in and look at it, but again, my suggestion and the real magical trick here is to narrate the video yourself instead of using text to voice, because text to voice is not as perfect as the speech writing software. Not tired, Dave's Adventures. It's just, I'm just out of breath. But that's just because I've been out of shape for so long. I'm only on day number 5. I haven't even sped up the treadmill in the last 3 days. I hope so, Andrew. Yes, I hope so. If me even being here would motivate anybody, that'd be a wonderful bonus. And then yes. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for the time that you spent on Ray B. Thank you for being here again. I really do appreciate this, because you're making it easy for me to stay motivated to be on, right? Even if it's a fact that I don't want to miss the stream more than I don't want to miss the treadmill, doesn't matter, because one helps the other. So thank you, everybody, and I'll try to be, I'll expect to be back tomorrow, okay? Thanks, everyone. Have a great start to your new year,